had a really interesting discussion today about the value of culture in regenerating urban cities and urban spaces. And what was very interesting was to compare what's happening in Indonesia with what's happening in Europe. And we tried to do that by looking at the European Capital of Culture initiative, which has been running since 1985 and which has had around 40 cities as capitals of culture in that period, so a period of 35 years. And what we've seen in Europe is that when you focus on culture for a year and increase the cultural energy in a certain city, you really bring in a lot of advantages, whether they're economic or tourism or just broadening the confidence or increasing the confidence of the citizens of that particular city. And that was a word that really came out during the discussion, the confidence effect of culture. So we looked at the European Capital of City, and the most recent example, the present capital of culture, is Turku in Finland, and we learnt about the many different programs that are going on in Turku, which are really helping to draw attention to that city and increase the profile of the city, and also bring in tourism from across Europe. And I think when you work for the European Union, sometimes you get bogged down in the kind of economic benefits of the European Union. It's good for business, it's good for trade, and sometimes we forget the cultural advantages. So we as European citizens can move around freely in our different 27 member states, and that creates cultural opportunities as well, not just economic business opportunities. So I think we've learnt that some of the lessons in Europe from regenerating cities like Liverpool that were very depressed 20 years ago and that now are very successful could be of use in Indonesia, in an area like this, Kota Tua, which has many beautiful old buildings and a canal system and historical sense, a real sense of history when you come here. That is a strength that can be used in a modern sense as well, where you bring in young people, you create cultural opportunities, just like the British Council is doing now with the Mystery of Batavia competition.
So Turku is the European Capital of Culture in 2011, and they have been working on a couple of very new initiatives, new projects. And for example, they have converted this really old railway house workshop into a very artistic space where you can have art exhibitions, have different kinds of performances, operas. So what they have done is taken a completely not used space and turned it into a very nice place for cultural events to take place in. And that's also it's called the Logomo, and it's also the main event, the place where most of the events are taking place during this year. And also another initiative that they have done is called the Neighborhood Weeks. And the idea is basically to create events that take place in these remote neighborhoods in Turku, outside of Turku, where usually nobody goes. They are usually not so much alive. So they're going to create events in these districts based on the ideas of the local residents, and instead of taking people outside of their neighborhoods to the city center to bring them to big performances or whatever, they're going to create these nice little events in these neighborhoods and bring life to them. So that is a really nice way and to regenerate these neighborhoods without too much investment at all.